Of course, we will bring it to you. Also, if you were with us for the earlier transmission, the Thai lifter Kuntatian, who eventually finished in overall silver medal position, bit of an injury right at the end when she was trying that very, very big weight of 130 kilos. No news of her as yet, but once again, we'll bring that to you as soon as we do have news. So here we are, the men's 62 kilo class, 152 pounds, 10 3/4 stone. And we start off with a man from Micronesia.
And a weight of 115 kilos.
This is Manuel Mingifel. Hopefully I've pronounced his name correctly. World record, just to put things in perspective at this very early stage, 153 kilos, 182 for the clean and jerk, 325, and of course it is the absent Mutlu who holds all those records. So 3 white lights. Now you're going to say it isn't Mutlu, aren't you? And you could be right. You are right. It's Shi Zhiyong, Li Mao Sheng, and the world standard of 325 has actually not been achieved. I was just confusing myself by Mutlu's participation in the 62 kilo categories.
So Tom.
Yeah, Tom Gugeber, nice young man. His interest when he's not weightlifting, he's a real computer whiz, this lad. From Belgium.
And he likes a beer or two as well.
Well, I don't know about that. You obviously do. 30 years of age, 6th in Europe this year, 125 in the snatch phase, followed by 150, 275, ranked 15th in the world. The B group earlier in the day. And the man who totaled up the most, 272 kilos. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Let's concentrate on Tom's opening effort of
118 kilos.
Span it out, span it.
Good start.
nice.
It does very well actually, because he's had a long-standing disc problem. He's done well to get over it. Chose to use a lot of rehabilitation work, doing a lot of rehab on the muscles in the lower back, and it seems to have worked out well for him.
Yeah, really good to get that first one in. Annika Nemeth, the lady you can hear in the background, looks after the media aspects of the International Weightlifting Federation. She's conducting the English service of the public address, and I must say things are beginning to fall into place a lot more comfortably today. So you can see it's not architecturally the most attractive place you've ever visited in your life. However, I've been to plenty of other weightlifting halls which have been considerably worse than this one. So it looks as if Mingifel is going to come out and try again. He was 10th in the Olympic Games, snatched 120 kilos, totaled up 272.5, so that's pretty decent. And he's been Oceania champion in his time. That was in 2004, 122.5 kilos, 160 for 282.5, which is actually his personal best.
Well, he's decided to take a 5 kilo jump. So he's now on 120, so just 2 kilograms below his personal best.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty sensible approach, actually. If he gets this one in, it'll be nicely on track. Come on. So, succeeded. Paul Coffer tends to look after most of the lifters around the, who come from the Pacific Islands, you know, Micronesia, Nauru, Guam. And there's no doubt amongst all those islands, Solomon Islands around there, I mean, potentially there's a lot of very strong young men and women, quite a lot of talent. So 2 out of 2. And maybe with this new 1 kilo rule, tempted to go for 123, get a new personal best. Now representing Taipei, this should be Yang Shengshun, entered a total of 285 kilos. Finished ahead of the man from Micronesia in the Olympics in Athens, was 9th, where he snatched 120 kilos to go with a clean and jerk of 160 for a 280 total. And of course, although we've had lots of regional championships, Asian championships, East Asian championships, this is the first world major championship since the Athens Olympics, the first step on the road to Beijing 2008.
So, bar now going to 123 kilos.
No juniors in tonight's competition. And that was very sweetly done.
Nice. That's what an opener should look like.
Very calm, very quiet, very fluent.
123 kilograms from the bar. First attempt for Rothwell, Cuba.
Because all these lifters, David, the ones who come from Asia, will be taking in the whole atmosphere, the whole surrounding, because they're going to be hoping to come back and represent their country in the Asian Games next year, which after the Olympic Games is only narrowly the world's biggest sporting competition. It's absolutely huge. Tom Gerber, well, hopefully we'll see him in Europe in action. Chetnievo, 40 kilometers from Gdansk, first week of May next year, right on the Baltic Sea in springtime, live on Eurosport. Hopefully we'll have your company for that. He'll be inevitably a lot more competitive at European level than he would here up against the world's best, but always good to have earned your place in the A final and be able to challenge and put your mark against the world's best. I was going to tell you about the B group. I will do very shortly when I can work out how to pronounce the young man's name from Turkmenistan. The total up, as I said, 272. Had a successful snatch of 121 kilos. So we're already past that. It's right on the edge of that 4-meter platform. And I think he's just about got away with that.
That's a good fight there from Tom. The great thing, of course, now is that he you know, that was obviously right on his limit. A 2.5 kilo jump would definitely be too much, but he's got the luxury of being able to just take an extra kilo.
Weighed in at 61.02, so he's the light man of the class. Just looking at the body weights, Sevdanim Angelov, but we probably better know him as Minchev from Bulgaria. There were two Bulgarians, as I mentioned, Georgiev not taking part, but Sevdalin, well, he's the heavy man at 61.94.
So this man doing exactly what we thought, had a best of 122. Already got 120 on the board now, going for a new personal record of 123 kilos, which I think he's going to do, and yes he does.
And he might have the bonus of also having a new regional Oceania record there. I must admit I don't have the Oceania records right at my fingertips at the moment, but big smile there, 3 good lifts and a new PB. Well done to him. As you say, David, you can't ask any more of a lifter when they actually go through the planned sequence and top it off with a new mark. It's one thing to set new marks in the training hall. It's another thing entirely to be out on a competition stage. It's a different sort of atmosphere, different sort of pressure.
So 2 reds and a collar. 125 kilos.
And there you can see Sevdani Angelov. As I said, you may well know him, as we do, much more as Sevdanim Minchev. Now, he didn't get a total at the Olympics in Athens. He did get 137.5 kilos on the snatch. So very interesting to see him coming in here at 125 kilos.
Yes, Bulgarian. Something's happened in Bulgarian weightlifting. I mean, since Abadjiev isn't in charge, they don't seem to have the younger lifters, do they? They seem to be sort of carrying on with the older lifters, and the older ones are slowly getting weaker and weaker as the time goes on.
There have been quite a few elections, quite a few changes between, the management of the Bulgarian Federation. They've had turbulent times, and I don't think they've yet emerged from all that's going on. And until they actually sort all of that out, you just can't bring on a new generation of coaches and lifters. And what they're really doing is relying on the old guard. And that is not an auspicious start.
Well, he's actually snatched in his career 147.5.
Well, I was going to say, I can think of him in Europe 5 years ago snatching 145. I can't remember the 147.5, but you obviously can.
I can remember him snatching, and I can remember him clean and jerking 180 as well.
And he's been third in the world in 97, 98, 99. It was 98 when the current weight categories were established. He won the European title in 99. Bronze medalist, if you go back, bronze medalist in Atlanta in 1996 when 54 kilos was the weight. But he's not had any success.
64,
yeah. Sorry. So now across to Cuba. You'd have to think that a World Weightlifting Championships in Cuba would be quite an exciting experience. Mind you, we're going to that part of the world next year, Dominican Republic. And here's Cubello, 27 years of age.
No lift.
Plenty of strength, but just sitting back on the pull and straight out the back door. So a failure on 125. He'll have to repeat.
That's certainly well within his compass earlier in the year, 130 kilos. And this is the man, interestingly enough, David, who is right at the top of the IWF, that's the International Federation, the governing body of this sport, the current world rankings. He is the #1 ranked performer at 62 kilos in the world, 130 kilos in the snatch, 167.5 in the clean and jerk for a 297.5, which he got in Havana back in April.
So what you're saying is he's lifted the most this year so far?
This year.
Yeah, yes. Well, I think that's going to all change this evening. So Bulgaria struggling.
Yes, one man who was due to participate, Georgiev, not participating. So all their hopes are pinned on the shoulders of this man. And that's a recovery. Now 31 years of age. But this is, again, a competition which looks to be pretty open, very competitive. There is a spread of 37 kilos amongst the field from 283, which was the total entered by Tom Gugeber, to 320. That's Zhang Ping of China, who I have to say we've really struggled to find out any information about him. He is completely new. He's not in our statistics list. We've talked to Mark Huster and Ron Ringuth, our German colleagues. They can't find him either. So it'll be very interesting to see him perform. He's unknown, but he wouldn't have got his place here to represent China unless he was competitive. That's for sure. So now, the #1 ranked lifter at the moment in 62 kilos, but he's in a bit of bother. He's in serious trouble.
Exactly the same mistake. Didn't correct the mistake. Took the shoulders back at the top of the pull, so created some backward momentum on the bar, and he just couldn't hang on to it.
Yeah, that weight is not going to hang around for you. It'll just take you away, and he's under real pressure now. 125, 125. He's got a very difficult decision. Does he go for 125 for a third time, or do they take an even bigger risk and put the bar up? And well, I think his coach is pretty disgusted with him. ¿Qué pasa? What's happening? Come on. It's a long way from Cuba.
He doesn't seem switched on, does he?
No.
It seems as if his mind is somewhere else.
Well, I think that's exactly what the coach is trying to do. I mean, he's not beating him around just because he's frustrated. He's trying to wake him up. Come on. This is your third and final attempt. If you don't do this, you're out of it. You come here with good credentials, you're not delivering. So whatever happens, David, even if he gets this 125, he's going to be way down. So he'd have to do something extremely big in terms of clean and jerk to get himself back into this competition.
Sigue el movimiento. Arriba.
It is easier said than done to put two failures out of your mind.
Has to keep the shoulders over the bar just a little bit longer.
Very interesting. That bar isn't square. It's not like it's not like everything's addressed correctly. No.
Exactly the same mistake 3 times in a row. Each one a carbon copy. He learnt nothing. He can carry on in the clean and jerk, which I'm sure he'll do.
So the number 1 ranked IWF lifter, I should say, of the season, falls at the first hurdle, and the second hurdle, and the third hurdle.
2, 1, 0. Stop the complaints.
Well, it's consolation prizes only. Well, when it goes, David, I know it's easy to be critical, but when it goes, it just disappears, doesn't it? I can think of plenty of other sports where suddenly all you have is a fog, you have no clarity, and it doesn't matter what you do, and the harder you try sometimes, the worse it gets. So back to Taipei now, Yang Sheng-shun, second attempt.
Well, he's copying the Cuban, but with a kilo extra.
So 126 not achieved.
So 126 kilograms now for the third attempt of Belgium.
That's the trouble, when it gets heavier, just leaning back at the top of the pull. You can't do that. You have to keep your shoulders over and stand straight up with it.
Early days, and it's already double body weight. It's got one more go. But fortunately for him, it's a weight that Tom wants as well. So 118 achieved, 123 achieved, now 126.
This is ambitious, though. Remember, he's wisely pulling the barbell towards the back of the platform. If you remember, he almost ran out of platform on that second attempt. So again, you see, learning from the previous attempt. This is a big ask, but he'll certainly give it his best. So just not quite enough height on the pull. I think he was being ambitious there. I think if I'd have been coaching, I'd have just gone up a kilo.
I think what was in his mind was the fact that because he got 125 in Europe in the spring, that he wanted to get at least one more kilo here at the World Championship. So I'm not going to, he's a gutsy, good guy. Really can't be too critical of him. Now, third and final time, 126 for this man, along with Qi Li of China. the youngest at 22. Two Chinese lifters involved, or they will be shortly. Much better.
Bags of power. Corrected the mistake.
So 126.
27 kilos on the bar, please. Adrian Gigal, Romania, first attempt.
And it'll be Romania in the shape and form of Adrian Gigal. Interesting Gigal for me, David, because he's a man who sort of flitted a little bit between 56 and 62, and since he's gone to 62, much better.
Much better, yeah, much stronger on the, especially in the second part of the competition, the clean and jerk. Yes, looks a lot more solid at 62 kilos. A lot more comfortable. I think the 56 is just, it's too light for him. He's got to work too hard to get the weight down, and it used to affect his performance quite badly.
Second in the World Championships in Vancouver, but that was in 56 kilos. That was in 2003. Good speed. Terrific speed.
Yes, he definitely looks much better at this weight, doesn't he? So that's 127 and the lead for him. But of course, still a lot of lifting to come.
Gigal also weighing in pretty heavy, 61.93, the second heaviest of the class, but as we said, he just looks such a more, well, he's a happier man. He's comfortable in his shell and his everything that goes with it. Sixth in the Olympics, but 56 kilos, was snatching 120 there. Second in Europe this year, snatched 132.5. So there's the difference. I guess when Mutlu was around, it's pretty aggravating for Gigal because you don't sort of know where to go. If Mutlu goes 56 or 62, it's a bit frustrating, but Mutlu off the scene, chance for him to make his mark, but he's up against some, well, what we think are very talented Chinese lifters to come. Now weighing in at 61.36, this is Urmurbek Bazarbayev from Turkmenistan. And interestingly enough, that his teammate was the best of the B group with a total of 272. So he'll be seriously embarrassed if he doesn't surpass that.
So 130k, first attempt. Good speed, solid,
and achieving an opening on a weight which he has consistently produced. He was 7th in the worlds in Canada in 2003, 132.5, and he's been around that mark, 130, 132.5 now for some time. So it's going to be very interesting to see where he can take himself today. At 24 years of age, you would think really only coming into his prime now. Although it's always difficult to judge, isn't it, when you look at the Chinese lifters who they produce at the age of 17 and 18, particularly in the women's division, just absolute world beaters at that age, but don't always longevity isn't something that you see amongst the Chinese lifters. Very few of them stick around for a long time. So Gigal now.
Yes, Gigal taking 131, so a 4 kilo jump for him. Very good.
And this is very sensible lifting by Gigal. Still Zhang Ping and Kui Li for China to start. Everybody else is on their way. So Gigal will be aware of the fact that bronze medal should be within his compass. Two Chinese lifters who entered totals of 320. That's their ambition. Zhigao with a 300 total, so that just indicates the gulf. Angelov, Sevdalim, Angelov, Minchev, he also entered 300, so technically he and Zhigao could be, on paper at least, vying for that overall bronze medal, but
he needs to get this though. He needs to stay in touch, doesn't he?
Absolutely, because I'd say in any case I'd put my money on Zhigao. He's on the upward curve. I fear that this man is on the downward turn.
And I think that confirms it. He's really not the man that we've seen in the past.
So he ends with 125. So really Zhigao probably feeling pretty happy with himself. 2 out of 2. Interesting what he does now, because on the face of it, the other two Chinese lifters are a little bit too far away from him.
Well, it looks as if it's going to 134, 133.
I think it looks also as if Zhigao's just going to run his own pattern here. Can't really, on the face of it, get involved too much. Having said that, they've still got this man, Bazabayev of Turkmenistan. Remember, he got 130, so maybe I'm jumping the gun here by suggesting that Zhigao is solid for the bronze medal. Zhigao now 35 years of age, the senior man by some way, whereas here's a youngster, 11 years his junior.
Раскройся полным мощным подрыв.
Check подрыв до конца.
Heavily taped thumbs for the hook grip. So 133 not successful, but of course he does have a third attempt, and there's the frustration of the coaches. They knew that was crucial, so kind of a wasted attempt really, but he's still got one more card to play.
What if he could get it, David? Zhigao isn't going to be many kilos ahead of him, whatever. I mean, if Zhigao comes in 133, 134, it's, you know, if he can get the next one.
I think Zhigao will take 33, I think. Or is this guy repeating?
Well, Zhigao is much heavier, so it could be that Zhigao's determined to put him in and Zhigao will take 134.
No, Zhigao's on
133.
33, so. Yes, so 3 good lifts.
Terrific.
Very good. Great lifting from Zhigao there.
Excellent stuff, Adrian Zhigao. And that, for me, is a new PB. Only by half a kilo, but that's what the new rules afford you the opportunity to do. It was 132.5 until just now. Now it's 133. So very good. And he's thrown the gauntlet down to the young man from Turkmenistan, but he's got the score on the board. And now Bazabayev has got to come out again and try and pick up 133. If he does pick up 133, interestingly enough, this could be good enough for the bronze medal on the snatch, because by virtue of lighter body weight he would nip ahead of Zhigao, but Zhigao probably got his eyes on the big prize perhaps. So arguably this for the snatch bronze medal, with the two Chinese lifters yet to come. But Zhigao got it right, and Bazabayev not quite ready.
No lift.
Leaves him on 130.
35 kilos.
So China, the China show now.
It is the China show, as you rightly say. Kui Li and Zhang Ping,
With
neither of whom have got much in terms of the statistic book, so this is for us something to look forward to. Now, what can we tell you? Well, we can tell you that Kui Li is 22. We can tell you that Zhang Ping is 26. I can tell you that both men have entered a total of 320. Zhang Ping weighed in at 61.82. Kui Li at 61.14.
So, 135. Just a shade under 300 pounds, and he makes it look easy. He's got a bit of attitude as well. I like that.
That's Kui Li. Just
The other Chinese competitor takes the same.
could well be, David, that one of these men will dominate the snatch, the other one will be the master of the clean and jerk. We saw that this afternoon in the women's 53 kilo class, where the Thai lifter was certainly dominating the first phase, but the Chinese woman came back to take the overall. Now here's the older of the two Chinese lifters, Zhang Ping, 135 again, and the heavier. They're both pretty imposing figures.
China are having a very good championship so far, in the men and the women.
Who will be king?
Well, they both look pretty impressive.
Punch and counter punch. Welcome to the Chinese National Championships. It is this enormous reservoir of talent that, quite frankly, no other country in the world can match. I'm the man. Well, we'll have to wait and see. A little while to go before Mr. Zhang can stand on the top step of the podium, but these two boys have got something about them.
I don't think I prove if I believe that he too would be moving up.
So this time the graphics are right. The man with the lighter body weight leads the way, and this is all very cat and mouse.
141 kilos on the bar.
And you can never be sure, David, what the Chinese camp want to happen here. Are there orders? Is it a bit like Formula One? Barrichello and Schumacher have passed? No.
141. So they're both taking a 6 kilo increase.
So 141. The world record is 153 kilos.
Was junior world champion.
Which is a frightening weight when you consider that these men all weigh under 62 kilos. Not surprisingly, that 153 is owned by a Chinaman. And Chinese lifters are really dominating. Shi Zhiyong holds the record on 153, but just at the moment, Kui Li with 141. 141.
So what can his teammate do? Let's see the response.
Well, it'd be interesting if he goes for 141 and they put it right down to the last lift. Kui Li seems to be very, very confident.
Well, they both do.
Witnessing here is almost a whole competition between both Chinese competitors.
Coaches are getting involved in this as well. My man against your man.
We have never met before.
I have a feeling that this is the man who might prevail in the clean and jerk.
Well, he's taking 42.
Well, because he is the heavier. So he needs to do this to put himself into...
Punch and counter punch.
Yeah.
The beauty is they both know exactly what they've got to do each time. Oh, that was impressive. That was impressive. Yeah. He's got that look. I like it.
And now what is the next
Yeah, follow that.
Same weight, 142 kilograms.
And I must say, David, these two guys, they really look the part, don't they? Fine physique.
Physiques, good, fantastic technicians, great power, good attitudes.
No, there is no hurry.
Two types of hunger in this sport. The hunger you feel when you're waiting to weigh in all day, and then the hunger when you get on stage to win.
144 kilos and now this is for Kg, China. Third and last attempt in snatch.
So 144.
Well, you'd think that both would know about the other, or each of them, I should say, would know about the other.
So
Perhaps not quite so many smiles. This is now getting a little bit more serious, but I don't know.
well, I'd love him to do this, because then it means his teammate would have to come out at 145. So it's always good to take it down to the wire, which is exactly what's going to happen. Follow that.
Well, these two victories in the women's competition so far, and this looks, unless something really bizarre would happen, is another title heading towards China.
So 145, David, is the weight needed now for the Chinese teammate. I don't know if he's a teammate at the moment. It's a team member.
China, third attempt, 145 kilograms.
Yeah, last night's 56 kilo title going to Wang of Taipei. So it's everything being dominated by lifters at the moment in these early couple of days of the championships. From lifters from one particular region. Now 145.
145.
So this for a 1 kilo advantage and the snatch gold medal. The bronze, Jigao's got that. Kg Lee watches on. Will it be gold or will it be silver? I'm afraid for Kg Lee it's going to be silver.
Great snatching, fantastic lift.
And what you're looking at is not only just terrific strength but fantastic technique.
Good speed, everything's right. He's got it all, hasn't he?
Well, this is just lifting of the highest quality, of the highest class. Just amazing. Well, 145, it is Zhang Ping, 26 years of age, from China, who takes the gold ahead of Kg Lee, 22 years of age, from China, with Adrian Jigao of Romania, the best of the Europeans, in the bronze medal position. But the difference, well, it's enormous. 145 kilos, 144 kilos, and then 133. And there it is. Pity that Bazabayev couldn't have lifted 133. That would have been interesting. Pity that Angelov seems a shadow of his former self. But nonetheless, that was really enjoyable between the two Chinese lifters, and more of that, please, in the second half. 3 out of 3. And look at that, the top 3 men, well, they deserve to be there. Not a mistake.
It's an interesting point that you bring up, though, because when it was, if you notice, when it was East Germany, and you know, it wasn't westernized,